What's up? Welcome back and happy Tuesday. It's another episode of Tuesday Tips and Tricks. Today's going to be a good one. Today, over the past few weeks, we've had quite a few questions come in on all topics related to audio. And Tyler and I realized we haven't really done an episode that specifically focuses on everything related to audio. So this is it. Strap on your headphones. This is going to be good because we are taking a deep dive into all things audio. Before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe, as well as hit the bell in the top right corner so you can get notifications for every new WeVideo video. We also have our Tuesday Tips landing page, which you can go to and post the link in the comments section. Here you could subscribe to receive email notifications each week before the episode comes out, as well as look at any existing episode so you can stay up to date. And with that, let's bring on our co-host, Tyler Wall.
What's up, Max? What's up, viewers? Are you guys ready for some audio? This is the episode for it.
This is good. This is good. Let's get down to it because we're going over quite a few different things.
Let's do it. Let's hop right into WeVideo and go over some audio basics, some questions you guys might run into when editing, and give you guys some tips on how to navigate all these different audio options. So I've got a couple examples here lined up, and we're just going to hop right in and start going over them. First up, we have a music loop. So this is something that we often run into when doing an edit. Let me zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, so this is if, probably most people have experienced this, if you've got more video content than you do, your video content is longer than the song you chose for the background music.
Right.
How do you work around that?
You can see here our video extends beyond the music track we selected. So this is something that comes up quite a bit. Either your song is too long or sometimes even too short, and we need to fill that whole space. So there's a couple ways to go about fixing this. First, let's just listen to the music itself. We want to get a good idea of the tempo, the beats, and where we can create a loop within this song. So let's play it for a little bit. All right, so we have a general idea of that beat. It's pretty simple. And the first rule of thumb is typically when we need to extend a song, a lot of times we can just do that by duplicating the entirety of the song and looping from this end point here. Occasionally we'll run into a situation where the beat is maybe a little bit more complex and we need to create the loop somewhere over here. So we'll show you how you could go about doing that as well. But let's start by just holding Shift, clicking on our clip, dragging over to the right, and we're going to create a duplicate of this track. So this is a tip that you can use with video assets or audio assets, just clicking, holding Shift, and creating a duplicate. All right. So here we have this extra song. Let's go ahead and trim that a little bit. And then we're just going to find our looping point. So I'm going to play and then find the beat that I want to cut on. All right. And a great tip is to use spacebar on your keyboard, and that will play and pause your playhead. So you can see there, as soon as that last beat is about to hit, I press the spacebar, and I'm going to hit S to cut that. Or you
Tyler, so one, got two questions that just came in. One was if we could show that duplicating step one more time. And the other is a real quick answer here from the Smirking Bison. If you use WeVideo music and you upload it on YouTube, will you get copyrighted? The answer is no. You're free to use both, well, any form of content stock media content that you get from WeVideo, you're good to go. And as Mark Saunders pointed out in our episode 2 episodes ago, the number one, I think it was like the number one lawsuit right now is copyright infringement related to YouTube.
Yeah, that's a great question. And YouTube is really sensitive about their copyright flags. So occasionally we've had users actually get flagged for music or video within their content. But if you're using it from WeVideo, it is all copyright free. So if that does come up where you get flagged, just go ahead and I don't know what the correct terminology is, but basically contact YouTube and tell them that you're using a stock media library that is licensed and that should be taken away. But you shouldn't run into that problem.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So let's kind of take off right from where we were earlier with just duplicating that track.
Yeah, let's go over that one more time. So just for duplication, main thing you want to keep in mind is have your clip that you want to duplicate selected. So you can see that orange border means it's selected. Hold shift on your keyboard, click that clip and drag it to a space that's available and to a track that is, you know, audio or video depending on what you're duplicating.
Yeah, so it's got to be the same. If it's an audio, if it's a song, it's got to go to another audio track.
Right. So if I try to duplicate this into a video track, it's not going to let me do that. Cool. All right, I'm going to zoom in and we'll continue looping this song. So you could see there, just to reiterate, I made the cut on that last hit. And then I brought the beginning of this clip right to that beat. And this should loop relatively well. Let's try it out. All right, not too bad.
That works great.
So in theory, we could do this same process again. I could even take this guy and duplicate him. And then we could have our song just loop as long as we needed to fill the space of our video, depending.
Yeah,
right?
So this is a really cool feature in WeVideo, and you can apply it to obviously audio right here, but that same thing goes with like motion titles, video. You can duplicate it by just doing the shift and drag. In fact, we had a question come in earlier today where a woman was creating a series of motion titles and she didn't want to recreate one from scratch and select the right colors and the font size. So what you can do is just shift and drag, and that'll copy it, and then you can go in and just change the text, and that way you don't need to adjust the font size and settings over and over again.
Right, that's a great tip. And you can see too that you can duplicate multiple things at once. So I can drag 2 audio clips or 3 or 4 and make an exact duplicate of that. All right, so thankfully this beat was pretty simple. And there's enough space in between our drum hits and measures that it repeats itself pretty easily. We're going to go ahead and show you how you could crossfade. Maybe there's a song that you're using that's a little bit more complex and create a loop from that. So I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit and we'll make a loop further down the line in our song. I think right about there, we could probably make a cut. So this is just another way to do it. And this will bring us kind of segue into some of the other audio options we have within WeVideo. So you can see here on these clips, this blue line. And this represents our volume. And depending on, this is an audio clip, so it's going to show up immediately. But on these video clips as well, when let me zoom in. When we hit this icon here, the audio looking icon, it will bring up that blue line here as well. And basically what that's representing is just our audio levels. And it's giving us the option to create keyframes. So let's go ahead and show you what those keyframes look like on this clip. When I click on that blue bar, it will create a little dot. And that I can adjust by just simply dragging. So what that is doing is bringing it from 100% all the way down to 0 in this time frame. And we can make this a longer fade or a short fade that would happen really fast. So you can see kind of what I'm doing here is creating this fade out and fade in with the different audio clips. So this allows us to get a nice crossfade happening. And again, if you have a more complex beat, this is sometimes needed to make that loop happen. So not perfect. We didn't line up the beats quite perfectly. If I shift it a little bit.
So yeah, Tyler, could you point out like when this might be more appropriate to use contrary to that other method?
Yeah, kind of like I said, if it's a more complex beat or a song and you don't have the
kind of obvious loop.
Yeah, the obvious loop, you're going to need to use a crossfade in a lot of instances. And if you listen, I know it's kind of hard to hear on our playback because I'm going through my internal mics here, but you can hear this gradual fade happening, and that's going to work a lot of the times. So if you're in a tricky loop situation, try this out. See if you can tinker around and get it close to a perfect loop. So I'm not nailing it, but if I were to play around with where the beats are lining up, I could get it sounding perfecto.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. On to kind of number 2, I guess, right?
Yeah. I guess we can just keep going down the line and talk about these keyframes some more. One of the questions we had was pertaining to, let me get this timeline zoomed out a little. Was pertaining to using the keyframes to bring down a section of your video audio and then narrate where the audio dips. So we're going to show you guys where you might use something like this and how to go about creating that narration as well. Let me pull up this clip here. All right. So we have this video here of this gentleman playing some music.
Anyway.
So you can see here, I clicked in and hit this audio icon, and now I have my waveform down here, so I can see what the audio looks like. And we have our blue bar. We should note this volume control here. So you can toggle that. You can create fades. See, as I enter in the seconds, it creates that fade right here. So that's a nice way to create that as well. But for our purposes, we're just going to be using these keyframes. Yeah, so let's say we have this clip of our musician and he's introducing the next song, but this was in a bar setting, so it's kind of noisy behind him, and we want to just narrate what the next song is going to be on our own.
Jonathan wants to hear this song. This is a cool song. I love this song too. Nautical song.
Yeah, so let's say we wanted to just mute this section and then let his music play after we narrate the intro of the song. And this is something you might run into with more of like an interview. I mean, there's a ton of use cases where you might need to mute a section of your audio. So you can see here I created a bunch of keyframes.
Well, yeah, so Tyler, real quick, point out what you did right there. That was kind of, it all happened pretty fast. How, for our viewers, how do you add keyframes like you just did, and how do you take them away?
Yeah, great question. So to add a keyframe, it's very simple. You're just going to click on that blue bar and it will create one. To get rid of one, you just double click on one of those dots and they'll disappear. So that's really important to know because sometimes we can add too many of these keyframes and it gets a little too complex.
Yeah. And then you can obviously adjust them by just selecting it and then dragging it.
Yeah, so you can see I'm dragging it in the direction, and then I can create one and drag it down as well. So for our purposes, we're going to need one more keyframe right here, and you can see I'm creating this little valley of the sound.
Nice.
So now we have a section here where a musician, anyway, he's going to stop talking, and we could narrate this section to say, you know, whatever our intro is going to be. Welcome, or let's go ahead and show you how we would narrate. Let me pull up our narration tab. Okay, so if you guys haven't used the narrate icon, it's going to be found in My Media tab. Hit the narrate button. You're going to need to allow your microphone to be used by WeVideo. And then it's just as simple as pressing record. You can also have the video playing in the background if you want. We don't need it for this purpose. So you'll get a countdown and then just start narrating. So for this video, we're introducing Hobo Jim playing his classic song, The Iditarod Trail.
Beautiful.
Right. So once you stop your narration, you can go ahead and preview it here. If you don't like it, you could record again, or we can just save it. And that's going to auto-populate down into our narration track. We'll show you that right here, voiceover.
Oh, and then we'll label that too. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it creates a whole new track for you.
I didn't realize it. So yeah, so it names it the audio track voiceover one, that's cool.
Yeah. So you can see I probably needed to make that introduction a little bit longer. That's all right. We can trim the fat. And you can move this voiceover around wherever you need it to be. It can even go up in these audio tabs if that's easier for you to see. So for this video, we're introducing Hobo Jim playing his classic song, The Iditarod Trail.
There was a little ship, and she sailed upon the sea, and she went by the name of the Merry Golden Tree.
Nice.
There you go. So we can adjust this fade to happen when we want it. And you really just have complete control with these keyframes. You know, let's say there was something, a loud noise right here that we don't want in our video. You could even just omit little sections if you need be. You have a lot of control with creating keyframes. So that's one of the more powerful tools within WeVideo for audio. And we can show you guys some more basic stuff as well. Let's see, are we getting any questions in?
Well, Jonathan did not know that you could add multiple keyframes and take them away. Aside from that, I think our listeners are still with us.
Great. Yeah, this is the time. If you guys have ever run into audio issues, let us know, and hopefully we can answer some of those questions.
So yeah, to Tyler, I actually have kind of one, and this might be more personal preference, but have you noticed when you upload your own content, video content, and then you use a song, either you upload your own song or you use one from the stock media library, do you notice that you have to adjust the audio gain because one's too loud or versus the other? Because I personally have found kind of that the songs that I use in the background, I need to bring down to like 50 or 60%.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's all going to depend on what level the song or your clip was recorded at, what decibel levels. So I think that's going to differ greatly depending on the clips and whatnot. Stock media should typically be, and stock music should typically be to a pretty standard decibel level.
Right. Well, yeah. So I think kind of one key thing to point out here is that it is easier, obviously, to make your background music quieter rather than try to make your video audio louder.
Yeah, for the most part with audio, the thing to keep in mind is quieter is usually better in terms of quality. When you start pushing things too loud, you get distortion and other problems. So that's a general rule of thumb. But obviously, you want people to be able to hear things too. So don't bring it too much where it's in the mud and you can't hear anything.
This one's from Jonathan again. How did you take them away? So yeah, to remove keyframes, it's just double click it.
Yeah, double click the dot and it will disappear. And that's a good one to remember because
you can accidentally
we can end up with way too many of these and then it's hard to make the adjustments. We don't want to end up with something looking like this, you know?
Yeah.
So just double click and it's gone.
Sweet.
Cool.
So I think this is our last example that people will probably run into relatively frequently.
Yeah, let's go over a couple more things, just other places you can make adjustments to your audio. All right, so we have Sutro Tower here. So clip of a shot. And it's super noisy, windy, got traffic going. If we wanted to just mute this and use this clip as B-roll, a very quick way to do that is over here in our master volume section. So this will affect the entire volume of this track. So anything on this track, including these clips over here, will be affected by this slider. If I bring it all the way down to 0, all these clips will be muted. And when I bring it up, you're going to hear that audio again. So that's a really quick way if you need to mute an entire section. A lot of times we'll be using B-roll like this, where we don't necessarily need all the natural sound that's coming from it. We're just using this clip over top something to show the natural beauty here of Patagonia, or wherever this is. And so that's a quick way to mute an entire track. But a lot of times we just need to mute one of these clips specifically, not the other. So to do that, you can see I double clicked into our clip editor, and then I'm going to click on this audio icon, and that's going to give us some options here. So this is the master volume for the specific clip, this Sutro Tower clip. So when I bring this down, that's just going to mute that individual clip. Or you could even hit this little check mark and it'll
just mute it.
Yeah. Save you some slipping and sliding. And we do have the ability to, boost this gain past 100 if need be. So that's a recent feature we added in. We're always improving at WeVideo, so your guys' feedback is greatly welcome. And you can see here we can create fades just like that other section. This will create a custom fade based on seconds from the start or end of your clip. So let me show you what that looks like when I hit that fade. It's going to create, oh, well, I muted it. So. Unmute. And it'll show that fade happens right there. Half a second fade.
Nice.
So yeah, that's a quick way. If you just need to do a little fade at the beginning or end of your clip, it's a little easier to do it like this versus playing around with all these keyframes, because that can get a little tedious at times. Moving these dots.
Awesome. Do we have any other audio related stuff to cover?
Those are the basics. Those are the basic areas you're going to find audio adjustment controls. I think we covered the main.
Oh, yeah.
So-
One more thing that wanted to go over, and this question came in a couple times last week as well. So up at the top, you've got your audio section, and that's got
Oh yeah.
free music, sound effects, premium music. This is all nicely sorted, and this is done through our stock partner. In addition to all of these, this is to our people who are on our professional plans and above, or who have the stock media added to them. You have additional content that you might not be aware of, and that's if you go to stock media.
Yep. Yeah, so just to reiterate, this section here, the audio, is mainly for our free accounts, and then also some of the premium stuff just organized for you. But then when we hit over to the stock media, you'll find a much bigger library.
Yeah, so what you have to do here is segment by audio. And then if you type in kind of like a keyword like inspiration or like a sound effect, something like a chime, you'll find a ton of different options here. So this is great if you don't see a specific sound effect that you are looking for in the free section. Try typing it in here and searching by audio, and you'll probably find it.
Yeah. There's a lot more sound effects and music within this section. And another way to refine the search is this icon here. If you just need sound effects, you can uncheck these, and then that'll just give us the sound effects so we can find a chime versus some songs.
Yeah. So to answer Jonathan, there's a ton more music available, and this is for any plan that has the Essentials library, the stock media enabled for it. So generally that's professional or business plans, but you can also do the add-on feature as well. And then, can we do that again, Tyler? Just show how we filtered by the sound effects.
Yeah. Okay, so there's two filters you can use. This one will filter it into video, images, or audio. And then we can go even further using this right here next to your heart, which will favorite different ones. Another good tip. But this will refine it down to just music or audio loops or sound effects. And then obviously if you're in the video, there's other options. So motion graphics or video. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to refine your search. So definitely utilize this when you need to find something very specific. This heart icon will favorite things. So if you find something that you really like, you can add it to your favorites, and this will, this is a folder that you can find.
And that'll make it easier to find in the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one more time, and this is to answer the Calm Owl. When it comes to all stock media provided in WeVideo, you are free to use this on YouTube. You don't necessarily need to credit the author or anything at the end of your video. You can if you want to. But if YouTube flags you for copyright usage, you can show them your WeVideo subscription, and that should be enough to settle that.
Yeah.
If you're still having any issues, you can reach out to support@wevidio.com, and we can walk you through any next steps if necessary.
Yeah, you should not run into any problems. All these within your stock media, if you have an account that has access to this, this is all copyright free. So you should run into zero problems with YouTube. But on occasion, their AI just gets it wrong and sometimes will flag you. I think we've had customers complain about that before. But
yeah, it'll happen from time to time. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's YouTube just really trying to make sure artists get their credit. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, but you you'll be able to fight it. So.
Yep. One more question here, Tyler. It's from Jonathan. Is there a way to organize with more folders? So Jonathan, maybe you can clarify, but you can obviously organize your media and add different folders here as well. If you're referring to specifically stock content, I think we limit you to just favoriting.
Yeah, right now you're just allowed to favorite. So that's the one folder. We're always looking to improve. So down the line, I know this has come up. If you start favoriting a lot of things, this could probably become a little bit cluttered. So maybe we'll look into creating folders within this section as well. Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, so if you wanted to make a folder for introductions, outros that you had previously created, then yes, you can. If it's something you've exported, you can create folders for that, and then use them in other videos like you just asked. So to create a new folder, just hit that plus button in the bottom right corner once you're in My Media, and you can create a new project or a new folder. Simple as that.
Yep. And that's a great way to stay organized with your media.
Awesome. Yeah, so as Tyler mentioned, we're constantly looking for ways to improve the product, which kind of brings me to a point that it's been a while since we've talked about templates. In that time, we're now pushing 70 templates for business and professional users. Free users have some new ones as well. And I know we're giving out more in the upcoming weeks for the holidays. So keep an eye out for those as well.
Yeah.
And thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Love the feedback. Love the questions. Great participation this week. And that's a wrap. See y'all next week. Happy creating.
See you guys.